is going on? So I'm coming on here to speak to the dads or dads to be. There's some topics I want to speak about, and I want you guys to just take heed because there's going to be times in your rookie dadhood that you're going to stop in your tracks and you're going to ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? And it's okay to question yourself as a dad because guess what? I have two kids, two girls, and to this day, they're still young, 8 and 4. But to this day, my mental frame compared to when we first had our girls, when we first had our first daughter, has not changed much. I've matured. I've grown better with parenting tips and understanding how to raise girls. But as far as like questioning myself, that still continues to this day. That still continues to this day. I still question myself. So don't be afraid to question yourself. There's gonna be times where you're like, am I doing the right thing as a father? Am I preparing my children the right, correct way? You're gonna question yourself a lot, so don't feel bad for questioning. There's going to be a lot of things that happens during your fatherhood journey that's going to really have you ripping at your hair sometimes. Like in your mind, raising children is going to be like, okay, you're going to have plans in your mind, right? You're going to have plans for your children. Their first step, their first word. What am I going to say to them when they can finally talk to me? What am I going to do when they can first actually smile at me and play directly with me? We all make these plans. But let me tell you something about plans and children. Sometimes they do not work out. Sometimes they go an opposite way. So when you're planning something with your kids and you're trying to say to yourself, hey, what's going on, Nandu? Nandu Gaming, what's up? So I'm speaking about dadhood and the things that we got to expect. Thank you, everybody, for joining. So the dadhood talk right now that I'm speaking about is what can we expect when we first bring our kids into the world, or our wives or girlfriends? What can they expect us to do when our children come into the world? That's what we're talking about. So one thing I will say is, what's up? Let me look in the chat. I'm from Bloomfield, Connecticut, Malik. Welcome, everyone. Hope y'all doing well. Hope y'all doing good. We're talking about dadhood. This journey is like crazy. Like this is a crazy journey as a dad. I have two girls and it still has not gotten any easier. Trust me. What's up? What's up, guys? Some more people coming in. Just saying hello to you guys. Chilling. It was cold in Denver today, so I made some for the homeless. Okay. Welcome, guys. So I want to speak about the journey of dadhood. So for me, when my wife was pregnant, I really just felt helpless in the moment. I just felt like, how can I help my wife during this process? And it was very difficult, to be honest, because your wife or your significant other, they're doing most of the work. You're just there to support and kind of ask your wife or your significant other, what can I do? How can I help you? You go down to the store, you get them some food. You do something in terms of that. So it's like, what can we do as men to really help our significant others or wives? What can we do? And to be honest, The frank answer that I can give you guys is do as much as you can. You are not just there for any reason. You're there to help your wife or your significant other. They're going to be doing all the work because that's what naturally happens. Women are going to be doing most of the work when it comes to their pregnancy. We're there to support and make sure they have all the things they need. So the first thing I would say is when your woman is pregnant, put a bag, and by bag, I mean put a hospital bag by the front door. Trust me when I say this. This is very important. A hospital bag by the front door, because you never know when your woman's water is going to break and you're going to have to zoom out of that house to the hospital. You don't want to get into a time where an unexpected time, because it will be unexpected. You don't know when your woman's water is going to break, right? Put a bag near that door. So when that time comes, when you're zooming out of that door, you can grab the bag and get into the car. You don't want it to be the situation where you need to get your wife or significant other to the hospital, and now you're like, oh, we don't got anything. Where's the bag? We have the newborn's clothes in there. We have all the items. Now you're stuck. Now you're wondering, what can we do now? We don't have the hospital bag that we should have prepared by the front door. So I'm speaking about dad tips. I'm speaking about tips for new dads. What can we expect as a new father? This is something that we all kind of grown accustomed to thinking, you're going to lose a lot of sleep. When I tell you you're going to lose a lot of sleep, I truly mean that. I remember when I had my first daughter, the ways that kept me up and kept me going was the PlayStation 3. That saved my life. I'm gonna be honest. It saved my life because my daughter would wake up from her naps and just feed constantly, feed every like 2 hours, 3 hours. She would do a constant feeding. And you want to help your wife because you want to make sure she's getting rest. You want to make sure she's recuperating. You don't want it to be like she's constantly has the baby and you're just sitting there. No. You want to give your wife or significant other time away from the baby so you can take care of her, your son, your daughter, and do all the feedings, because it gets really hard. Trust me when I say, like, there's times where I just had the coffee machine like right beside me near the couch. Like, it got bad. Like, I lost a lot of sleep. And both of you, to be honest, are going to lose a lot of sleep. So just be prepared for that. You are going to lose sleep, and it's something that you have to think about. You have to think about ways that you know will keep yourself up. So, like I said, I did the PlayStation 3. You guys can think of ways to help you guys. So I can make some suggestions. Maybe you like movies, right? If you like movies, I would suggest binge watching. So think about a series that you always wanted to watch, but you never got a chance to. Guess what? This is the perfect time to binge watch that series. Perfect time. That series may be the saving force that'll help you stay up when your child is feeding and you're responsible. This is your shift to take care of the feeding while your wife or significant other is sleeping. It saved my life. I also did binge watching. Like, I remember just binge watching. I forgot the show I used to watch, but I went through like the entire season, the whole season, based on me just being responsible in that moment for the feeding time. So while my wife was upstairs sleeping and I was downstairs, I took the responsibility of my daughter and I said, I'm going to feed her, but I'm also stay up in the moment with Netflix, with my PS3. If that didn't work, I'll find something to kind of help me in the moment, because it's hard, man. It is hard. So as you grow in your as you grow as a father, right? There's going to be things you got to expect as a new dad. And I'm going to let you know what you should expect. So one thing you should really expect as a new father, growing up, your kids are getting a little older. You got to expect that there's going to be people that are going to say something that you don't like near your kids. That's something that I experienced raising my daughter. And I experienced certain people saying some stuff that I really didn't like. And this type of stuff they would say, it wouldn't be like disrespectful, but it would be more so on the lines of inappropriate. You ever have some people just say inappropriate stuff around your kids? Like, what do you guys do when someone is saying something inappropriate around your children? Do you guys just take them out, take them away from the situation? There's been times where people have just said inappropriate things, and I just give them a look. I just give them a look. I normally just take my children away from situations like that. Like if I know it's a situation where it's not like someone personable to me, like I don't speak to them, but it's just someone that's just naturally in their environment and they're speaking things that are inappropriate, I take my children away from that area. Because we have to guide our children's minds. We got to guide it just as much as we know that we got to speak to our kids when they learn certain things to kind of teach them and guide them of, okay, you heard this, but just remember, this is not the way of the world that you should be learning right now. But I also want to tell you that you're going to hear these things. You're going to hear these things that people say. And a lot of the things that people say, you're going to be confused. You're going to wonder, why is this person saying this? Why are they saying these things? The way of the world is a wicked world in which we live. And we got to teach our kids early on that they're going to hear things that's going to make them uncomfortable. They're going to hear things sooner or later that's going to scare them. It's just the way of the world. And we as parents, we got to prepare not only them, but we got to prepare ourselves. What are we going to say to our children when they come to us one day and they start asking, hey mom, hey dad, what does gay mean? You know, certain terms they're going to hear in school. You know what I mean? Certain terms they just have to learn. Because guess what? If you don't start teaching your children about the ways of the world and what's going on, they're going to learn it through TV. They're going to learn it through their friends. Or they're going to learn it through other sources of social media that they shouldn't have at a young age, by the way. But that's a whole nother topic. And that's something that we have to understand. We have to teach our children this. Like I remember back in the day during, what was it? Saturday morning cartoons. You guys remember Saturday morning cartoons as a millennial? Oh my goodness. Those were the best days. Best days. I'm sorry, I can't listen. Saturday morning cartoons, we had some of the best cartoons. We had Goof Troop. We had Captain Planet. There was Bonkers. There was Animaniacs. There was, oh man, the list goes on. Thundercats. It just goes on. We had some of the best cartoons. Millennials had some of the best cartoons. But look what they're putting in these cartoons today for the generation coming up. It's just so inappropriate. The things that they're putting in these cartoons now is like, you almost need to read a Bible verse after you watch some of these cartoons. I'm like, what is that? Like I remember watching the episode with my daughter, my oldest daughter, and she was watching what's the show? The Proud Family. There we go, the remix version. So there was a moment in the episode where two men, they were dating, and I don't know how they even set it up. Like the episode was going fine, and then all of a sudden you just seen two dads together. I'm like, oh, like how do y'all just throw things in there like that? They threw it in smoother than the electric slide. Let me just say that. Like they threw that whole topic in there. No explanation, no beginning, no genesis of this story of this situation. Nothing. They threw it right in there. And they say, you as a parent, you go explain that to your children. Go ahead. I dare you. And that's what they do with a lot of these cartoons. They throw all of this inappropriate stuff in these cartoons that the kids watch today, and they don't explain the inappropriate stuff. They just throw it right in there. Throw it in there. Who cares what you think as a parent? I don't care. Whoever's this is my tone of the voice of whoever's creating the cartoon, of course. Who cares what you think? You explain that to your children. And eventually we have to. We got to explain this stuff to our children. Because who else is going to explain it to them? I remember I watched what was this movie? A new version of Cinderella. The fairy godmother was a man. The fairy godmother was a man. Now, growing up, if I watch like Cinderella on all these movies, the fairy godmother was a woman. But we live in a day and age where they, like I said, they switch things up. They don't ask for permission to do these things. So just because you're looking at the rating of a movie and the movie rating says PG, oh PG, that's cute. That's real cute. PG, parental guidance. What does that truly mean? What does parental guidance truly mean? That I have to guide my children through the movie to make them understand? What does that mean? I've always wondered that. Then you got G. Rated G. General audiences. Anybody can watch. And then they'll throw something in a G-rated movie that's still questionable. And I'm like, you can't win. You can't win. That's my frustration as a parent. Expect this, dads. This is stuff that you're going to stumble upon. Something so natural and innocent you would think that's going to happen in your journey as a dad is going to hit you. And then you're going to be like, what the hell do I do? How do I explain this? How do I explain this? Also, dads, expect family members to say things that you do not like. Expect them to say something around your child or say that you should raise your child a certain way. Sometimes there's going to be there's going to be family members that overstep their boundaries. There are a lot of boundary crossing people out here. Understand this. You are the father. Whose voice is the most important is yours and your wife / significant other. Just remember that. No other voice should your child be listening to if it's not your voice. First of all, it should be your voice primary. Every other voice should be secondary. Because I've dealt with situations where my daughter hears so many voices in the household. So many voices in the household, but yet she doesn't understand that my wife and I are the primary voice. Because there's been times where boundaries were crossed. This is why I say, keep your boundaries strict. Do not let anyone overstep their boundaries. We're still working on that. Boundary crossing. It's a big thing. You don't want your boundaries crossed with your children. You don't. Because once someone crosses the boundary, they're going to get comfortable. And then once they get comfortable crossing that boundary, then they're going to continue to cross other boundaries. You don't want that. You don't want people to constantly cross boundaries with you. So I'm going to end this live because I want to actually make a video concerning these topics that I spoke about. So until next time, guys, take care of your mental health and get ready to have your child. Subscribe. Peace.